Hi, welcome to MediatorPodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things mediation, negotiation, and collaboration. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide online valuation, divorce, and mediation services in St. Louis, Missouri. In this week's episode, we will discuss family mediation, a unique way to get divorced, with Daryl Weinman. She is a family law attorney and mediator in Austin, Texas. Daryl has been board certified in family law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization since 2000, an honor granted to less than 1% of Texas attorneys. She's also part of the Austin Bar Association in the Alternative Dispute Resolution section and the Texas Family Law Foundation. Another interesting thing is she's a member of American Academy of Certified Financial Litigators. I think people are going to want to know more about you and how to, we'll provide them with information of how to contact you and such, but tell us what you're focused on right now in your practice.
So, I joke about how I see my practice as kind of a full service divorce firm, that we're not just going to get you legally divorced. I've been doing this now 27 years here in Austin or in the Austin area, and I've got tons of connections with all different professionals. So I do want people, I want to help them find the right therapist for themselves and for their kids. I can get them with a mortgage lender to refinance their house, or a realtor to help find their new place. Financial planner who can help them figure out what their budget's going to be, career counselor who can help somebody who's been out of the workforce to, what can they do now? Help them, move forward. So, I've got this huge network of other professionals that I will pull in when I need them to kind of help somebody get down the road, like not just get divorced, but get their life on a new path, and help me figure out too, when we've got all these different assets, really which ones are best for my client. If I've got the one who's not the money maker, then they probably need a lot more cash assets now than retirement assets, because they need something to live on and build up to. So things like that. So I joke about it as the full service law firm, plus, the books and kind of helping them psychologically heal, relate to each other. Divorce resort is something that I would love to do more of. And the problems have been that it's hard when you have two people who are not in the same psychological state to get them to both sign up, because it is a way of getting it done quicker. And somebody, generally one person wants it done quick and the other person is just not ready. But it is a way to keep a set budget, a set timeline. They have complete control. And so anyway, that's kind of how I approach it.
Even just saying, over this weekend, we're going to clear everything and we're going to deal with it. The reason why I like, even if you don't go to a resort, even if you just go to a hotel or something, the reason why I like it is because when you're going to mediation and caucus, like you literally are just sitting there like, what am I going to do now? Whereas if you could go and sit on the beach, if you could go and get a massage or something, like, I don't know how those things wouldn't help the situation, we're more relaxed. Okay. Let this go. Cause it is a whole psychological, you kind of framed it up as similar to the stages of death, and grief and things like that. And it is, because it is a complete change, and you have to go through those emotions. But I think if two people are ready for that, it's a very efficient, creative process that, I hope becomes widely successful.
I can do it in any state. Like, I don't have to be licensed in whatever state I do it in. And generally I will, if it's going to be a state that I'm not familiar with, I will find a local attorney who will help me with like, what are the alimony laws here and what are the child support laws, so that I'm helping them do proper calculations. But yeah, it's a way, what I tell people when they first come into my office as a litigator is, look, I'm looking at your total picture here. I've heard your story, and of course I haven't heard the other side story, but kind of this is the range of where you are. Post-divorce, this is probably what your custody arrangement is going to look like, give or take. This is probably what your property division will look like. Now, if the two of you can do this friendly, nicely, you can keep all the costs down, the financial cost, the emotional cost to your kids, all of that. You can reduce that. And if you can't keep it down, well, I got 3 kids in college and I'm happy to take all your money, and you'll still end up in the same place.
Right.
Except you'll have a lot less money because you will have paid it out to the 2 attorneys and to experts and on and on. You will have said things in public on the record that you can never take back. You'll have pulled grandparents and teachers and everybody else in to completely polarize them. And the healing from that a lot of times never happens. Mm-hmm. So keeping the timeline short, keeping the assets in your pocket instead of mine, is good for everybody. And it's all run on emotion. And if you can just keep the emotion in check and try to, at least, even if you don't like the soon-to-be ex-spouse anymore, at least try to figure out what are their fears. Because if you can calm their fears and get them to a rational place, you can get it settled.
Yeah.
You can get it settled, and you can be done, you can move on, and you can have your own money instead of having spent it all.
Yeah. And I mean, the reality is a very, even a moderately complex divorce could cost $150,000 to $300,000, so it could cost $150,000 per side. And that's a huge amount of money. Whereas if you look at other options of mediation, and you can get that cumulative total down to $50,000 or $30,000, it's still a huge amount of money to people, because they're like, wait a second, that's going to cost for the divorce. But in the reality, in the wide scheme of things, it's going to be like, do you want to figure out how to communicate with your spouse so you can get it done in mediation? Or do you want to pay a couple $100,000? Because that's just the reality. Like, I don't think anybody wants to talk about it, but that's the reality. And
it's funny, because when people come in my office, I tell them, I said, nobody walks in here and says, I'd like to hand over my life savings to you and have this really ugly, nasty fight. I mean, nobody says that, but it happens a lot. It happens often. And when they think, well, we're not like those crazy people at the courthouse, we're rational, we're sane, we can do this. Okay, who do you think those people are at the courthouse? Right. I mean, they're you. Yeah. They're people who let their emotions get out of control, let other people get in their ear, and next thing you know, you've spent $150,000, and you look back and you go, how did that happen?
Yeah.
They don't plan for it. They don't see it coming, but it happens every single day.